through the allocation in the social sectors. We want to see a comprehensive budget that will interpret this.
Welcome to the People's Budget Season 5. I'm your host. My name is Peter Zulu, and we are glad to be here. Obviously, in the good company of the Center for Trade Policy and Development, and in partnership with their great partners, Diakonia and the Tax Justice Network Africa. They bring to you the People's Budget. This is Season 5, and we asked you to send through your videos. For those of you that were interested in participating in the People's Budget, and you did. Over the past few weeks, 10 participants have been selected, and for the next few weeks, they will go through mentorship, training, Welcome to the People's Budget Season 5. I'm your host. My name is Peter Zulu, and we are glad to be here. Obviously, in the good company of the Center for Trade Policy and Development, and in partnership with their great partners, Diakonia and the Tax Justice Network Africa. They bring to you the People's Budget. This is Season 5, and we asked you to send through your videos. For those of you that were interested in participating in the People's Budget, and you did. Over the past few weeks, 10 participants have been selected, and for the next few weeks, they will go through mentorship, training on how they can become an actual finance minister. They will be required to present a budget of which a panel of judges will judge who can be the next finance minister. First things first, let's get to meet our participants. Here are your top 10 in the People's Budget.
Hi everyone, my name is Tokozile Awacha. I am a 21-year-old youth activist. I proudly come from Chikuni, which is a rural area in the southern part of Zambia. What I do is I'm really into youth activism. I'm a public speaker, and I'm just into things that have to do with inclusiveness and gender equality. So what inspired me to take part in this year's competition is definitely the theme, from recovery to resilience, making growth work for all. So for me, I think it was a question to say, how do we make growth work for all Zambian citizens?
My name is Divine Chwarasha. Nationally, I'm from Zimbabwe, but what I do is I am a student at the University of Zambia studying radiography, and I'm currently in my 4th year. One thing I love about a country is seeing economic development, and I believe the People's Budget is a platform that gives the youth a way to voice out their opinions that might generate national development, and I believe I have a few opinions that I would love to be heard that can develop the nation.
My name is Tabunga Simatei. I am from Lusaka, Ibex to be specific. I'm an entrepreneur, a public speaker, and I'm very enthusiastic about leadership. I'm very proactive in nature, and I'm very patriotic. Participating in the People's Budget competition would be a way to add my voice to matters of national concern.
My name is Wiseman Daka. I am from Chongwe, currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in public health at Creso University. At the moment, I'm also participating. I'm an ambassador under the AMR Youth Antimicrobial Resistance Ambassadors in Zambia, where we champion the prudent use of antimicrobials and other drugs. Aside that, I'm also a chairperson for the Urban Futures Project in Chongwe, working with consortium partners such as the HIVOS, CATS, and Global Network Solutions, where we are championing climate resilient communities and also the food systems in general. In a time when Zambia is looking for they that give voice to power and power to voice, I thought I could be the right fit to add my voice to this discussion, because the My People's Budget is not only a competition, but it is a conversation on how national resources are handled, or rather managed, from allocation and expenditure. Hence, I thought it wise to participate.
My name is Anna Chanda. I'm from Lusaka, Chalala to be specific. I am a student at the University of Zambia, Ridgeway campus, studying medicine. And I do public speaking, I do advocacy. So when I first saw the competition, first season I should say, the inspiration began from there. And I said, okay, I think one day I will participate. And this year I felt like was the appropriate time. I feel it's going to be a learning curve for me for the purpose of growth. And also the most inspiration for me is the challenge that I know that the competition will come with. So it's a daring step. So for me, that's the inspiration.
My name is Chola Cornelius. I'm a fourth and final year economic student at Kwame Nkrumah University. I'm also the president for the Kwame Nkrumah Economics and Business Association. Two driving forces brought me here. First of all, it's my love and passion for public finance and its management, starting from the budgeting process itself to its implementation and everything in between.
My name is Mishingo Agnes, your Copper Belt representative for this season of the People's Budget competition. I'm from the Copper Belt. I'm a student, a second-year biological science student at the Copper Belt University. I've witnessed how societies get sidelined in decisions that affect their daily lives. So when my friends told me about it, something clicked. Why not me and why not now?
My name is Chumwe Singh Chimba. I'm a fourth-year civil engineering student at the University of Zambia. I'm from the Copper Belt in Ndola. So interactions with different people from different walks of life and different communities helps me open my mind to the economic affairs of the country.
My name is Jarisha Mutapa. I'm originally from the Copper Belt, to be specific, Ndola Kansenshi. Yes, I am currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in medicine and surgery. Yeah, we're my third year at Ridgeway campus, the University of Zambia.
Hi, my name is Lucas Samsonda. I am a Social and Economic Development Program Officer at the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection. I'm so excited to be joining this season of the People's Budget as a judge. I'm looking forward to working with our contestants and seeing what they have prepared this year. There are a number of economic issues that are prevailing this year. Given the tight physical space we're in, there's great opportunity to think about what are our best resource mobilization strategies that we have. Given also the number of social issues that are prevailing, the high cost of living, the consistent mismanagement of use of financial resources, how best are we utilizing these resources? We're looking forward to the creativity of our contestants in ensuring that our next budget works for all Zambians.
My name is Robert Mwale. I'm the lead public finance researcher at the Center for Trade Policy and Development. I also coordinate the CSO Data Alliance as well as the Zambia Tax Platform. I'll be one of the judges during the season's fifth season of the People's Budget under the theme from recovery to resilience, making growth work for all. And basically, in this year's context of the People's Budget, our expectation is to see how our contestants will be able to actually interpret the theme that we have set out for this year. The areas that we are looking out for is, number one, domestic revenue mobilization. One way that an economy can actually perform better and attain resilience is that we must actually enhance our domestic revenue mobilization strategies. This will help us not only meet our obligations in terms of debt service that came with actually those debt that we have actually successfully structured, but we must also be able to meet the obligation in terms of our wage bill. And at the same time, as a country, we have to actually also allocate sufficient funds to social sectors such as health, education, as well as social protection. All these projects will require a lot of resources, and hence we need a robust domestic mobilization strategy. Apart from the tax revenue, the non-tax revenues have not performed very well over time, and we need contestants to actually come up with strategies that will address the challenges that we have seen on the non-tax revenues as they present and make forth their budgets. These are some of the things that we expect to see even as contestants make their preparations of their budget. On the expenditure side, we want to see how the contestants will strike a balance between debt service as well as pay the wage bill, and at the same time meeting the needs of our people through the allocation in the social sectors. We want to see a comprehensive budget that will interpret this theme and speak to it even as they make their presentation. And these are the things, or some of the things, that I look forward to see even as we interact and have our contestants prepare to make their budget. With these few words, I wish you a wonderful context, and I look forward to your innovative submission even as you participate in this year's People's Budget.
Hi, my name is Malama Mukonde. I am a producer and, of course, a media personality. I am returning for the People's Budget. I'm excited for it. This is where you get to see some brilliant minds interpret the budget. How do they understand it, from the themes to the things they think are important in terms of national interest. So I am looking forward to this season of the People's Budget, and I can only wish the participants the very best of luck, and I'm hoping that we have more women in this fight.
You're watching Season 5 of the People's Budget, brought to you by the Center for Trade Policy and Development in partnership with Diakonia and Tax Justice Network Africa. Well, we just heard from our contestants sharing with us why and just what inspired them to be part of this competition for Season 5. We're going to go to our next batch of contestants and just to hear what inspired them and what they would do if they became finance minister for one day.
So if I were a financial minister for just one day, I believe, because if we're moving from recovery to resilience, right, the first thing should be research. What are the needs of the people of Zambia? So the first thing is research. First, we have to know, because when we tackle the grassroots, then we know that we have a strong foundation. We know that where we're going has a positive end.
The first thing I would change if I'm a Minister of Finance in a day is how CDF is allocated. At the moment, we only give grants, scholarships, and others. But in the aspect of grants and loans, how do you entrust money in somebody whom capacity hasn't been built to manage those funds? Hence, no wonder we have a lot of people who haven't returned those funds. We have a lot of people who allocate those funds to themselves. Hence, capacity building would be my priority in allocation of CDF funds in the national budget.
Well, if I was given an opportunity to be the Minister of Finance for a day, I would introduce the participation of people with disabilities more, or upgrade the levels at which they participate in national issues.
One thing I would introduce is more funding towards environmental health. Environmental health is one of the key sectors that I believe people should focus on, because an environment's health governs the health of the people in that populace. So one thing I would change is more funding to environmental health, more sensitization to the people about environmental health in urban areas as well as rural areas alike.
I would look at mines. Mines the mining industry happens to be a backbone in our country, and it has been a backbone for the longest period of time. And currently, we are at a point where everybody's talking about mining, and there's so much that we can gain from the mining industry. A lot of chaos that has been caused, especially with the illegal miners. One thing that I would do is give access to small-scale miners loans, and also make it very affordable to get a license as a miner. And I feel that will be an opportunity for everybody to participate and reduce the number of illegal miners. And also, it would largely benefit the country. So I feel that's an aspect that I would look at as Minister of Finance.
The first thing that I would change in the budget, first of all, I would make some reforms to the CDF program, just like what I've indicated. There are so many processes in acquiring the CDF. Talking of loans and grants for maybe SMEs and cooperatives, there are so many complicated processes. So I would make such reforms whereby it would be simple for the communities to actually get the loans and grants from these resources.
I would raise funding towards health.
I think I would say it's not really about changing of something. Sometimes something is perfect, but it is the people who manage it. So I don't think I would necessarily introduce something new, but really just strengthen on the accountability and efficiency that is done in managing what is already there.
As alluded to, the change I would bring about is adjusting the allocation of funds in different communities, because as I said, different communities have different needs, and so they require different amounts of money.
You're watching Season 5 of The People's Budget, brought to you by the Center for Trade Policy and Development in partnership with Diakonia, the Tax Justice Network Africa. We just heard from our participants as to why and what they would do if they became Finance Minister for the day. We have another batch coming up, and this time around, we just want to find out from them. We just heard from government that have increased the taxes on tobacco, and the stats to do with tobacco as far as tobacco-related deaths are skyrocketing in this country. Let's hear from them as what they would do or what their thoughts are on this particular change right now.
Considering the fact that we lose over 7,000 people due to tobacco-related diseases, I feel the introduction, rather the increase of tax towards the tobacco, would help in managing and treatment of these diseases that are actually caused due to tobacco related. And also the budget, we spent too much towards treating these tobacco related, over 2.8 billion. That's too much. So the increase of tax towards the tobacco will actually help us even increase the allocation towards the health sector.
One thing about tobacco is that it is mostly partaken by youth, by people who are poor, and by increasing taxes on tobacco, it makes tobacco less accessible to the youth. It makes it less accessible to the people who are poor. So now, if it becomes less accessible to them, that means the health risks that come for those who smoke tobacco directly, as well as those who smoke tobacco passively, get lower. And with the increased taxes, that means our government gets to make money from people who buy tobacco. So it's a win-win situation, such that we secure the health of our people and also improve the economy of our nation. So I think it was a good move.
Initial thoughts about tax increasation when it comes to tobacco, it is a very good idea, because yes, we are limiting, people to get access to this tobacco, but if we're moving to resilience again, we should get to the grassroots. We should, what is causing people to use this tobacco? So I feel getting to the ground roots, awareness, it comes back to awareness. I think I'm really an advocate on this one. It really comes back to awareness. People should know the dangers of the absorption of tobacco, because when we have tackled that, then we are moving from recovery to a resilient budget.
CTPD and YPN had a candlelight for the people that lost their lives to tobacco. The Ministry of Health has reported that over 7,000 people lose their life every day to tobacco, and 7,000, just imagine that number. That number is very, very high, and that is very, very sad. And hence, I would say that was a very, very good initiative for government to increase the tax on tobacco products.
Well, it's a win-win strategy, honestly. It's not only increasing the revenue, it's saving lives and building a healthier nation. Even though tobacco smokers and the tobacco industry will resist, but the costs outweighs the benefits actually outweighs the costs.
This is a very great move. It's a very great move. As we may be aware, as a country, we are losing about 7,000 people every year due to tobacco-related illnesses. So this taxation will actually, first of all, increase the price of production. This will, in turn, increase the price. Even the price of just one cigarette will increase. So this is a very welcome move because it will limit the consumption of tobacco-related products to some extent. It's a very welcome move.
It's a good move. Obviously, debates around it in terms of what's the goal, why, so many conflicts around it. But I think the bigger picture also is looking at, is the gain more than the loss? So that should be the concern and the question. And I feel like the loss, if we're a bit casual on it, is going to be more. So we look at what's the gain. The gain is an increased taxation. What does that do? For example, the component of the healthcare system. If we are going to leave the tobacco, it's just going to be business as usual without much consideration in terms of how consumers access it and how easily they access it, we are going to be weighing a huge burden on our healthcare system, which already is not really in a good state. So that would mean one side is benefiting more, so that is the side of where people are able to access the tobacco, but there's another side which is being affected hugely, which is the healthcare system. So increased taxation is the way to go.
I believe it's a good move because it's going to help the government bring in more revenue, and also, most importantly, it's going to control the number of people that are going to be taking tobacco, as suggested by the World Health Organization.
When I heard about that, I was happy. Reason being, it fascinates me on how the aspect of policy is connected to championing the issue of reaching public health goals. By the way, health is not only a pillar in development, but it also facilitates the agenda of developing a country. Hence, if taxes are put in place to curb the aspect of tobacco smoking in our country, especially amongst the youth, who knows, maybe a future president, a future prime minister, or a future finance minister is out there dying at the smoke of tobacco. Hence, if taxes are hiked, definitely we'll see a reduction in the abuse of tobacco, and the agenda of seizing tobacco in our communities will be championed.
What do you want Zambians to take away from your participation in this competition?
One thing I want Zambians to take away from my participation is to know that no matter where you come from, like I said, I'm Zimbabwean, it doesn't necessarily matter which country you come from, as long as the passion for Africa and development of Africa is within you. That's something I would want you to push forward. Don't limit your ideas or improvements only to one country. Go beyond and protect the people of Africa. We live under the concept of Ubuntu, taking care of one another. So Ubuntu is what I would love people to take from me and carry with them.
I want Zambians to see me as the analytical thinker I am, and also a person who likes to challenge himself.
But one thing that I want to do, and what Zambians should take, is that I will be the voice. If it means digging deeper into the issues that actually concern them, we are going to dig deeper and provide exactly what they need. Because in most cases, we think we are providing solutions. In the actual sense, that is not what the people need. So one thing that they should take away from me is that I am for them. We are a team and we are doing it together.
What I would like people to take away from my participation is that, first of all, I am a detailed, oriented and passion-driven person with some good background of economics. And one thing that I love to do so much is being there to make sure that there is some economic change in my communities. And that's one thing that I'm here to do in this competition.
Wow, so what I want Zambians to take away from my participation in this competition is, I think one thing I also mentioned in my introduction is I'm here to represent and amplify the voices of the rural and underrepresented youth. There are a lot of youths who've come on board, and there are others who are still scared, but their views are really crucial to, making decisions in terms even of the budget that we are setting out this year. So in my intention actually is to represent the youth in the rural and underrepresented communities. Fellow Zambians, this is definitely your youth finance minister. Thank you.
I want every Zambian out there to learn from their experiences that I'll learn from this competition, to be a voice for the unheard, the underestimated, and that everyday Zambian that deserves more from this budget than just promises.
Firstly, they should take away my energy, but most importantly, they should take away the fact that youths have a role in participating in national affairs, and youths can do it. So you see me here, I am a youth being given this opportunity to be able to influence something such as big as a national budget, and therefore be inspired that I am a youth, I am seated here participating in this competition, and therefore be inspired in whatever area that you are, whatever you are doing, whatever size of what you're doing, that you can do something big and you can do it. Yeah, that's what I would like you to take.
It's a good move. Obviously, debates around it in terms of what's the goal, why, so many conflicts around it. But I think the bigger picture also is looking at, is the gain more than the loss? So that should be the concern and the question. And I feel like the loss, if we're a bit casual on it, is going to be more. So we look at what's the gain. The gain is an increased taxation. What does that do? For example, the component of the healthcare system. If we are going to leave the tobacco, if it's just going to be business as usual without much consideration in terms of how consumers access it and how easily they access it, we are going to be weighing a huge burden on our healthcare system, which already is not really in a good state. So that would mean one side is benefiting more, so that is the side of where people are able to access the tobacco, but there's another side which is being affected hugely, which is the healthcare system. So increased taxation is the way to go.
And there you have it. You've met your 10 participants. Over the next few weeks, they will be drilled and trained and mentored for them to become the next finance ministers. The panel of adjudicators will join us to adjudicate their work through and through the people's budget. This program is brought to you by the Center for Trade Policy and Development in partnership with Diakonia and the Tax Justice Network Africa. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.